The Prime Minister wants to cast off his image as Britain Trump and woos EU fan Biden into the White House. The charm offensive could work. After new US president has taken office, London is always looking for signals about how to intact the special relationship between the superpower and the former colonial power. The time it was registered with disapproval that Joe Biden was the first to remove the bust of former British Prime Minister Winston Churchill from the Oval Office. On the other hand, joy arose when the US President rang Boris Johnson on Downing Street after calling neighbors Canada and Mexico. The special relationship will be strengthened, promised Biden in the phone call of the weekend. The late former Chancellor Helmut Schmidt once dryly noted that the special relationship is so special that only one side of it is known. In Washington, the British need for recognition has been viewed with a certain amusement for years and gladly served. This time, such diplomatic gestures are particularly important because after Brexit, the kingdom is looking for confirmation in the world more than ever. Johnson has been trying for months to strip his image as Britain Trump. With his double-edged praise, Brexit fan Donald Trump gave his counterpart in 2019, and it still has an impact today. Johnson now wants to prove that Great Britain can also be a relevant foreign policy actor outside the EU. Brexit does not mean turning away from the world, he emphasizes. Rather, one will continue to fight for multilateral world order. He is benefiting from the fact that this year the kingdom is hosting the G7 summit in Cornwall and the World Climate Conference in Glasgow. The major events offer the best opportunity to intensify the special relationship. Because Biden also wants to show that the USA is again becoming more involved internationally after the isolation course under Trump. We will repair our alliances and get in contact with the world, the Democrat promised when he took office. A little time will pass before Biden goes abroad, according to the White House. The likely first stop is the G7 meeting in summer. There Biden and Johnson could meet for the first time. Eric Bradberg, Europe director of the Carnegie Endowment think tank, even thinks an earlier opportunity is conceivable. If the NATO summit takes place in March, the new US president could fly them across the Atlantic. Biden wants to promote international formats in whatever form. It is extremely important to him to send a strong signal to transatlantic partners. But Brexit plunges Biden into a dilemma because both the EU and Great Britain are extremely important for the USA. Unlike Trump, Biden is a longtime EU fan. His cabinet, including Foreign Secretary-designate Tony Blinken, consists of many supporters of the Obama era who support European cohesion. Biden himself considers Brexit a strategic mistake. A relationship of trust between Biden and Johnson, as once between Bill Clinton and Tony Blair or Ronald Reagan and Margaret Thatcher, is therefore difficult to imagine. In 2019, Biden said of Johnson that Johnson was visually and emotionally a clone of Donald Trump. The president, who is proud of his Irish roots, also warned the British Prime Minister in the Brexit dispute against questioning the open border between Ireland and Northern Ireland. Johnson's statement in 2016 that Obama is an alleged half-Kenyan, had an aversion to the former empire, has never been forgotten by the Biden camp. How little Tories and Democrats have to say is shown by the fact that Downing Street had no contact with the new US team until the election. However, there's a lot of overlap in content, and both heads of government seem willing to work together pragmatically. After their phone call, Biden and Johnson emphasized the similarities on the climate issue in the fight against Corona and in NATO. Johnson wants to use the G7 summit to send a strong signal to the authoritarian states of China and Russia. To this end, he has invited important democracies in the Pacific region, India, South Korea, and Australia. This new D10 alliance fits Biden's Conference of Democracies. On China, Washington and London are pulling together. London is significantly more consistent than the EU when it comes to excluding the controversial Chinese telecommunications giant Huawei from 5G networks. Johnson is also more robust towards Beijing on the Hong Kong question. On the climate issue, Biden and Johnson both set the goal of making their economies climate neutral by 2050. At the World Climate Conference in November, they can demonstrate the solidarity. Johnson has already celebrated the return of the US to the Paris Climate Agreement. The British hopes for a comprehensive free trade agreement with the USA are unlikely to be fulfilled anytime soon. Even the Trump years hardly made use of the special relationship. Although the Republicans celebrated Brexit as a symbol of nationalism, the negotiations for a trade agreement remained fruitless. The biggest obstacles are agriculture and the health sector. Experts expect years of negotiations. It is still uncertain whether the Biden government will continue the trade talks, said a recent analysis by the US Congress. During the election campaign, Biden had promised to base his trade policy on the Buy American principle. Accordingly, Biden only wants to make new contracts when the federal government has invested $400 billion in domestic goods. However, the EU-China investment deal could motivate the US and UK to work faster on a trade pact. According to Thomas Wright, Europe expert from the Brookings think tank, London can only win in the medium term. The Biden administration will endeavor to build better relations with the EU and the UK at the same time. The US government will look step by step how they can use both blocs for Washington's interest, he tweeted. In the end, it will be very pragmatically and will amount to trilateralism. The US, the EU and the UK. That's a pretty good deal for the UK. The country will then operate on par with the EU and the USA. He believes. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel and my other channels. I'll see you in my next video. Auf Wiedersehen.